Today, we'll continue our conversation and we'll go into more practical advices on how to live a healthier life in your body and in your mind as well. What makes us human in the sense that it doesn't matter where we're from, how old are we, where we live, how much money we have. What are the things from your experience from working with so many people that unify us?
Our attention has been stolen from us because there is so much of media to consume that instead of, we are not better off. I keep using this word. We are not evolving as humans, we are devolving as humans, which means our life presents to us more stress than usual. For anybody who wants to know if they're having natural apples, one of the simplest tests is you cut an apple and you let it sit there for about 10 minutes. If the apple does not turn kind of brownish, reddish from the inside part where you've cut it, then it's a genetically modified apple. So including the food and technology that we are consuming, everything about our lifestyle is more unnatural, which is giving us a high level of stress.
Why do people choose to see you and not a psychologist? What makes your line of work different from that of standard psychology practitioners?
Therapy, the Western approach of mental therapy is kind of broken because it's virtually impossible for a person to listen to you for 1 hour, then listen to 7 other people in the same day for 1 hour each, and then reconnect with you, even though he might be making notes after a week, after 2 months, after a month, and pick it up exactly from the same thread where you finished. Most therapists are very good at identifying certain factors back in your childhood or understanding why this happened, but that's where they keep circling around. When it should come around how to get out of the whys or how to get out of what the whys have manifested, that's where Western therapy falls short. And this is where the Eastern therapy, which is more than like 10,000 years old, has a lot of answers in how to reprogram the mind, in order to how to change the diet so that your mind is healthier, in order to how to change the body so that your perspective, and how to change your reactions so that how you look at the outer world also changes.
What would be the top 3 things that are on the top of the pyramid in terms of taking care of your body?
So one of the common threads that I see for people who don't take care of themselves is that they forget to focus on themselves. We are eating way too much and at the wrong time and in the wrong composition.
What would be the pleasure to replace alcohol?
1, you have to understand the origin of alcohol before you start addressing it for yourself. Number 2, what does alcohol really do? Alcohol is directly processed by your liver, so it damages your liver. Alcohol is a very strong dehydrating agent. Are you trying to suppress that which is going in your mind, or are you releasing that which is going in your mind? That's the question. That's the big question towards the answer for happiness.
Hello. Thank you for joining. Today, again, as my guest, I have VIDHI. We shot a video before with him talking about yoga and interpersonal relationships, how to manage them. And if you haven't watched it, you can just go down to the description below. There is a link to the video. You can connect and directly take a look at our 1 hour long conversation. Today, we'll continue our conversation and we'll go into more practical advices on how to live a healthier life in your body and in your mind as well. So VIDHI, he's a mental therapist, he's a yoga teacher, he does also chakra healing, and he has taught his practices in more than 50 countries all over the world. Now he is in Bulgaria again, and we're continuing where we left off. VIDHI, good morning, how are you?
I'm good, thank you so much, Peter.
Very glad to have you. So for the past 30 years, you have traveled to 50 countries all over the world.
Yes.
Yes. So through your travels, you have encountered people from various backgrounds, from different stages in life, to people from different cultures and different cultural upbringings. So I'm very curious to learn what makes us human in the sense that it doesn't matter where we're from, how old are we, where we live, how much money we have. What are the things from your experience from working with so many people that unify us in this human sense?
That's a very good question because since the time that I have been traveling across the globe, this is something that I've tried talking about a lot, that no matter where I go, whether it's Germany, whether I am in Norway, whether I'm in the United States, or I'm in Sofia, Bulgaria, or maybe I've just been to Armenia, for example, There are a few things that make us connect to each other, irrespective of whether I'm white, whether I'm brown or black, is all of us across the globe are fighting a very fast pace of life, which automatically means that our life has become too fast, too quickly, using gadgets and devices, which has made everything possible, what was not possible in our parents' generation, you know.
Yeah.
Growing up 20, 30 years ago, we have experienced a kind of time and space where if you had to reach out to a loved one across the globe, you had to wait for weeks, sometimes days, sometimes hours, to just get a call and to listen from them or hear from them, to just get to know what or how they have been in the past few days. In today's world, you could actually have a partner across the globe and they would want to know more about you as to what you did in the last half an hour and what did you eat, and your mother would be wanting to know what did you have for food today and whether you had food or not. So one thing I think that connects all of us is this pace of life where life has become way too fast because of the technology that we are exposed to today. And we are highly stressed because of the space of life. We are not better off. I keep using this word. We are not evolving as humans. We are devolving as humans, which means our life presents to us more stress than usual. Our attention has been stolen from us because there is so much of media to consume that instead of focusing within, instead of going inside, I'm so worried, so anxious about all the things that might never happen to me. That's number one. Two, our inherent securities or insecurities related to relationship, they're so common. Whether I go in China, whether I go in Lithuania or any other part of the world, just this, how is my relationship with my parents? How is my relationship with my partner? How is my relationship with people around me? You know, this insecurity in regards to how good or bad are my relationships. That's one common thread which is connecting the entire global population, no matter where I go. And you know, being a mental therapist, I happen to work with people from all kinds of backgrounds. And I would love to report, wow, people from Bulgaria are very different from people from Lithuania, and people from Lithuania are very different from people from the United States. But actually, these threads of how our life is becoming more stressed, how we care about our relationships, and how we are insecure about our relationships, and irrespective of no matter how much wealth I get, irrespective of no matter what position I have in society or life, my relationship with myself, my able to seek peace within myself, you know, my ability to be happy in what I get, what I do. So my insecurities, my relationships, how I treat myself, how I'm driven, or how my ego drives me in order to achieve certain things, in order to behave badly in my own relationships or badly with myself. These are some of the common threads that I have found that no matter where you go, people are still struggling with it. And combine all of this with the pace of life, which has become like 10x faster, you know. We are more stressed, we are more unhealthy. The food that we eat is not so great. I mean, the breakfast that you have on your table, if you were to show it to your grandmother or your great-grandmother, probably they wouldn't even recognize that breakfast today.
It's like having those apples that stay on your counter for weeks and they don't change in color and shape.
Yes, exactly. I mean, for anybody who wants to know if they're having natural apples, one of the simplest tests is you cut an apple and you let it sit there for about 10 minutes. If the apple does not turn kind of brownish, reddish from the inside part where you've cut it, then it's a genetically modified apple. So, including the food and technology that we are consuming, everything about our lifestyle is more unnatural, which is giving us a high level of stress, is bringing our body out of balance. It's also taking our awareness and attention away because it's creating an imbalance in the stomach and the body, which is also creating an imbalance in the mind. So I think everybody is struggling, despite having more, struggling to be happy, if that makes sense.
Absolutely, it does. I relate to this, and I've never lived in a different time where we weren't as fast forward, although I do remember the days of the internet where you had to wait for 10, 20 seconds for a web page to load. Now it's instant. Now if you don't get what you want instantly, you become stressed, you become anxious. So, in your line of work, you're a mental therapist. I have a background in psychology. And these are two different things. I want to stress that. And mental therapy has many different approaches and angles that you can approach a problem from. But from your experience, why do people choose to see you and not a psychologist? What makes your line of work different from that of standard psychology practitioners? And what would you say is your key to effective work with clients? Because as a psychologist, I'm very well aware that if you go to one session, you always need 5, 10. Sometimes it takes years to like unpack and unravel and understand. But I don't think you've had clients for more than a year, right?
Yes, very true. I mean, so the kind of therapy that I do with clients across the globe, it's kind of similar in approach, but very different in its execution, simply because if you were to look at somebody that is going to help you in your life, you want to go share your problems with them, you would expect them to go deep down in your Pandora's box. Pandora's box is your box of troubles, in your Pandora's box, to help you out and guide you on how to go ahead in life so that you can evolve, so that you can go beyond the problems that you're experiencing. So when it comes to mental therapy, the approach that I have is more the Eastern approach. And how is it different from the Western approach? In the Western approach, when you go to a psychologist, when you go to a psychiatrist or a behavioral analyst, you talk, and you talk with a limitation of time. That's number one. The limitation of time. To be able to come to a person with a time set on your watch, and to be able to tell your whole life to somebody in an hour, and maybe it cannot happen, so you'll go another hour, and then another hour for another week or another month. This whole kind of psychology, or the kind of approach to mental therapy, the Western approach of mental therapy, is kind of broken, because it's virtually impossible for a person to listen to you for 1 hour, then listen to 7 other people in the same day for 1 hour each, and then reconnect with you, even though he might be making notes after a week, after 2 months, after a month, and pick it up exactly from the same thread where you finished. So unlike the Western therapy, in Eastern therapy, the approach that I take is more coming from Buddhist teachings and philosophy, where the first session is the longest session ever. So you don't sit here for 1 hour. After 1 hour, I'll not show you my watch, but I'll give you the space and time to express yourself, to express your feelings, to express whatever you've gone through. And in that form and format, it helps you to release whatever you're holding on to. It helps me as a therapist to transcend into your subconscious mind, into your energy field, to understand who are you, how do you look at things. Whatever cycles that you're repeating in life, maybe there are bad relationships, maybe there are bad bosses, maybe it's a bad relationship with money, maybe it's to do with your self-esteem, maybe your self-esteem is low, you're not able to appreciate yourself or how beautiful you could be. So in one long session, I'm able to transcend, I'm able to give you the time and space to talk about yourself, and with whatever you're speaking, I'm able to transcend into your past life, into the root causes, into what were your triggers, and who exactly caused those triggers, and why were these triggers affecting you the way you are today, So basically understanding the root causes, understanding how these root causes became your triggers, and how these triggers manifest in your real life today. This is the job of every therapist, to be able to go down deep. But in a form of therapy where the therapist does not take out time enough for you to be able to express yourself, understanding the root causes can be extremely difficult. What has happened today is that you go to a Western therapist and you keep going into therapy for 5 years, and after 5 years, the best case scenario is that you know your wounds, you know your emotional wounds, you know your trauma, you know exactly where they come from. But if I were to ask you, do you know how to heal them? You have absolutely no idea. Now that is something that's absolutely not the approach that we take in the Eastern therapy. Out here, the first session itself is for us to identify your wounds, identify your root causes, identify who were the people, what were the situations that helped you cause that wound, and why did that wound happen in the first place. So years of work in just one session, and this one session could be maybe 7 hours, could be 10 hours. I've sat in sessions for 14 hours. So I would give you all the time and space to discover your wounds in the first session itself. And by the time we finish with the first session, not only would you have identified your wounds, not only would you have understood, oh, these are my root causes. This is why I feel the way I feel. Not only would you have understood who are the people responsible in causing you your wounds, but most importantly, by the end of session 1, I would be guiding you. holistically. What that means is in terms of changing your behavior, in terms of changing your diet and lifestyle, in terms of helping you acquire new tools from yoga, from meditation, from Ayurveda, in order to kind of counter effect all your triggers and change your manifestations as you see fit in your life. So one of the questions that I ask everyone is, what are the top 4 or 5 things, if they were to happen, you would consider this session to be a successful session? And I find that almost 70 to 80% of the people who work with me, in 3 to 4 months' time, they've already achieved 80% of their goals. Nobody works with me more than probably 9 months, So on an average, people work with me within 6 to 7 months. And through this, I want to spread the message that I expect you to heal. I wish you to heal. And I'm telling you this, mental therapy is not a subject of years of work on yourself, where you keep going to a therapist and you keep coming back to the therapist again and again and again, just scratching the same wound. How Eastern therapy differs is that in Eastern therapy, we actually help you heal the wound and identify the wound in the first session itself. After the first session, all the sessions that happen, they could happen in a month's time, they could be happening in 3 weeks' time. All the sessions that are happening are helping you heal the wound at a very deep level of psychology, at a very deep level of the physical body, and at a very deep level of understanding where exactly are my triggers, and can I change my behavior at the level of mind through the reaction of the mind. Apart from this, you will also get very deep guidance on how can you change your diet and lifestyle in order to become better.
I think in what we have spoken before, there's a different approach in terms of how psychologists and psychotherapists handle these kinds of internal struggles. With psychologists, more often, not always, there are different approaches that different psychologists like and adopt, but it is it's mostly about asking the question of, first of all, why, and how to. But from what I have spoken with you, it's mostly, there's still the why, but it kind of circles around to how to not. Is that true? Is that correct?
Well, there are a lot of aspects of going into someone's mind and understanding what causes them to be the person they are. So yes, the whys are very important. But apart from the whys, it's also very important as to how you can change what the whys are causing. And this is where I think the Western therapy kind of falls short, where most therapists are very good at identifying certain factors back in your childhood or understanding why this happened. But that's where they keep circling around. When it should come around how to get out of the whys, or how to get out of what the whys have manifested, that's where Western therapy falls short. And this is where the Eastern therapy, which is more than like 10,000 years old, has a lot of answers in how to reprogram the mind, in order to how to change the diet so that your mind is healthier, in order to how to change the body so that your perspective, and how to change your reactions so that how you look at the outer world also changes.
Yes, so I want to focus on the answers a little bit more. I want to get into the more practical aspect of what you're teaching. So it's different for everyone. There are different strategies and different approaches that work on specific people. Others might do, and others might not. However, there are some universal truths, I do believe, that can be applied by everyone. And I think that is evident from our conversation that we had before. Again, if you haven't watched it, click on the link below in the description. But let's talk about, first of all, physical health, how your body heals and how you listen to it. There are universal truths here for sure. So what would be the top 3 things that come to your mind when you see someone that hasn't taken care of their body, or top 3 things that are on the top of the pyramid in terms of taking care of your body?
Well, when I come across clients or people who I kind of assess that they're kind of having imbalances in their body, or they're not taking care of themselves, the top 3 things that would come across very clearly for me that they have not been doing is, number 1, somehow They have not been driving their awareness or attention towards themselves. Now, if you were to look at the subject of meditation, you close your eyes, you focus on one object, and usually if it is Buddhist meditation, which is what we do quite often, we focus our awareness inside, either on the breath, either on the physical body. But through that focus, who are we connecting to? To ourselves. And when we do this, as a natural experience, we experience a level of peace. We experience a little bit of going down of stress. We experience a little bit of peace inside ourselves. Just the act of closing the eyes and focusing on my breath, just the act of closing my eyes and focusing on the physical sensations of my body and staying there without any reaction calms my mind down. So one of the common threads that I see for people who don't take care of themselves is that they forget to focus on themselves. They forget to bring their global awareness. They can actually focus on anything in life. They can focus on targets, they can focus on man, woman, they can focus on teams, they can focus on to-dos, they can focus on family, they can focus on everything except for one thing, on themselves. They don't have time for themselves. They don't have time to observe the biology of their own mind, observe the biology of their own physical body.
Yes.
They don't have the time to observe themselves. And through this, it adds a huge amount of stress and anxiety to their life. That's number one. So number two, in most physical bodies across the globe, if somebody is not taking care of themselves, one common thing that I see is the levels of hydration. Somehow today our food is more poisoned, our food is more unnatural. As I said before, if you were to expose your grandparents to what you're eating, probably your grandmother is not even going to recognize what are you eating really,
Yeah.
Whether it's granola, whether it's any kind of pancakes, or maybe, I don't know, any kind of canned food that we have from the stores, A big factor that I have seen is that there are so many aerated drinks today, there are so many forms of juices, there are so many forms of coffee and tea that we are forgetting to hydrate ourselves. Now, 80% of the human body is actually made up of water, and what that means is that if you forget to hydrate yourself, almost 80% of your brain is water and 75% of your physical body below the neck is water. So if you are able to not hydrate yourself properly, if you get into a situation where you're drinking too much of coffee, too much of caffeine, too much of Coca-Cola, too much of juices, too much of alcohol. So in your mind, you're thinking you're drinking liquids, and from these liquids, you're going to derive your water. That's really not true. A lot of these liquids, for example, coffee, a cup of coffee helps you drain out almost a cup or a cup and a half of water. A glass of cold water, for example, will help you drain out almost half a glass of water. So even if you drink a glass of cold water, the body is going to work on it to raise its temperature, to bring it to the body temperature so that it can absorb. And in this process, the body will lose a lot of water. So we are drinking less water, and we are drinking so much of aerated drinks, so much of unnatural drinks, which are not hydrating us at all. Liquids are not water. And this absence of water is causing a huge dehydration and imbalance, which is also causing the imbalance of air within our body. If that makes sense. The number three thing that I would say that I've seen common across the globe with people who are not healthy is we are eating way too much and at the wrong time and in the wrong composition. What I mean by that is that when we talk in the subject or in relation to the subject of Ayurveda, not everybody is the same. So somebody are the earth and water type, somebody is the wind type, somebody is the fire type. So everybody has to eat food according to their body type. That's number one. Number two, I think the time of consumption of food, when are we having a food and how many meals a day is what is making us sick. Ayurveda traditionally talks about 2 meals a day. The first meal happening before 9 o'clock or maybe 9:30, because at that time the digestive fire is super strong. The second meal that Ayurveda recommends is between 5 to 7 p.m. and sometimes we say 5 to 6:30 p.m. And if you're able to have your dinner between 5 to 6:30 p.m., this is optimum for your health. Simply because this is the time when the digestive fire, the energy is naturally going into the stomach. Any other time of the day, whether it is in the middle of the day, whether it is in the middle of the night, if you are having food, this is one process. The moment you have food, the energy goes into the stomach, the digestive fire is activated. And for digestive fire to be activated, a lot of blood and oxygen needs to reach the stomach. So any other time of the day, if you are having food, if you're nibbling on snacks, if you're having drinks, if you're having Coca-Cola, if you're having some favorite juicy drink of yours, you're activating your digestive fire when this blood and oxygen circulation should be going either in your brain or to the rest of the body.
Okay, let's dive deeper into that, as I think a lot of people now are reading more about healthcare and nutrition, and a lot of materials that can lead people to disagree. With fasting, with fitness, they have different strategies on how to take care of their own body. So when you say digestive fire, let's first dive into exactly what digestive fire is. How do you explain that? And then in terms of the time frames that you're given in the morning before 9 and in the evening 26:37, what would be the things that or the state of our body or the sun or the earth that make our digestive fire as strong as possible on that day? And then maybe it's a little bit long question, but why not 3 meals a day?
Okay, that's great. Why not 3 meals a day? This is a very good question, actually, because this is something that I go around the world talking about it in the Ayurveda workshops that I do. Why not 3 meals a day? Simply because we are not our grandparents' generation. We are not on the farm. If we keep eating the whole day long, then just by the natural understanding of our body, you have to understand every time you put a bit of food in your mouth and it goes down your throat into the stomach, there has to be a process which will start breaking down that food. There has to be a process of digestion, and this process of digestion in Ayurveda we call the process of fire, the digestive fire. Now this digestive fire takes a lot of energy. It's not one of those smaller tasks like going to the toilet, or those smaller tasks where you feel that your body is getting a little cold and your body starts vibrating in order to generate heat. It's not one of those smaller tasks. It's a major task for the body. So every time you're having food, the digestive fire getting active requires energy in some form. And what is that energy? That energy is blood. That energy is supply of oxygen. When both of them go towards the stomach, that's when your digestive fire gets active. Now what the yogis say in respect to the food is that you should eat food at the times when your digestive fire is naturally active. So consider somebody who's waking up, say, at 7 or 8 in the morning. And I'm saying have your breakfast by 9 o'clock or maximum 9:30. The moment you wake up, what is the first thing that you do?
The moment I wake up, I get out of bed and maybe I look at my phone.
Okay, is there anything else that you do?
Yes, I go and drink water.
Anything else?
Go
That
to the
happens
toilet.
for everybody else.
Go to the toilet.
Go to the toilet, exactly. So the first thing that we as humans naturally do is we go to the toilet, we excrete. And the moment you do that, your entire force of energy is downwards. It's going downwards. And the moment you've been to the toilet, the energy starts moving upwards. So it makes logical sense that your energy is into the stomach after you've been to the toilet. And at that time, if you were to eat, no matter what you eat, I'm not even saying you should have vegetarian food or you should not have this or you should have that. I'm saying whatever you eat in the morning, it'll get digested super easily simply because your energy is right in this part of the body at that particular point in time. We can also talk about how energy is different when the sun is rising, how energy is different during the noon time, how energy is different when the sun is setting. But forget all of those. Keep it very simple. If you eat food within 2 hours of waking up, and I'm hoping that you're waking up at good hours, you're not waking up at 12 o'clock in the afternoon. But if you wake up at 6 or 7 in the morning and you immediately have food, I think your food will get digested super easily without giving you any form of laziness. The moment you cross 10 o'clock in the morning and you try having a big breakfast, I promise you, after your big breakfast, you would need a nap. Why? Simply because this energy which was in your stomach has started moving upwards and it needs to help other organs to do their best during certain hours of the day. They optimize. Every organ of the human body optimizes at a certain hour of the day. So why not the third meal? Simply because this energy which is rising up is not meant to come down again until evening. So during the lunch hours, during the afternoon hours, if you were to have meals, if you were to have food, the energy that is supposed to be going into your brain will again come back down into the stomach and it will give you lethargy and laziness. One of the biggest disorders or one of the biggest problems across the globe, no matter where I go, no matter who is unhealthy, I see is that the digestion is weak. Ayurveda says this, and Ayurveda says it very clearly. It says all diseases of the human body are created in the stomach. So imagine this for once. If you have a lot of food sitting in your stomach being digested, it would require so much of energy. And whenever I'm referring to the word energy, I'm referring to blood and oxygen going into the stomach.
Yeah.
If blood and oxygen is continuously being pumped into the stomach, do you really expect that your mind is going to be active if all of this blood is being taken from the mind, from the brain, and from other organs to go into the stomach all the time? The third meal is applicable only to children who are growing continuously, playing continuously, or it is only applicable to athletes who are working throughout the day and they need an additional spurt of energy.
Yes.
But for regular people, anybody having more than 2 meals a day is only going to affect the health in a very negative manner, simply because they're forcing the digestive fire to reactivate again and again and again. And if your digestive fire is getting activated all the time, it will automatically mean an imbalance for the body and the mind. Number 2 is, you would also find that such people will never have clear digestion unless and until they are the fire type or the pitta type, where their digestion is super strong. And if you were to go back to the principles of Ayurveda, which says all diseases of the body start in the stomach, whether it's anxiety, whether it is depression, whether it is any form of problems with, say, me getting fat or me not having enough vitamins or having different kind of deficiencies, if you fix your digestion, if you fix 2 meals a day, and I'm saying don't go far, do it for 10 days. Experience it for yourself, how you feel after 2 meals a day. And there's a lot of scientific research now which proves that if you are giving space and time for your stomach to be empty, if you're giving space and time for you to feel hunger and not feed yourself, then your body auto-cleanses itself. And I've done this experiment with people who are 60 plus, 70 plus, and I've found that not only did their lethargy completely disappear at that age by skipping out lunch, but they had more energy. They never felt the need, even in their age, to have a nap. And overall, their digestion, their mental activation, the retention of attention became much higher. And in today's date, even with young generation, we find our ability to spend time on something or give our attention, or our ability to stay healthy has become so difficult simply because of the meals. How are we eating? How many meals are we eating in a day? And then comes the big portion of what are we having in our meals. I would still consider that the third most important thing, but the first is how many meals and are we having our food at the right time?
So you're suggesting breakfast and dinner?
Exactly.
Not lunch?
No lunches and no snacks in between.
You're going to have a lot of pushback on this. A lot of people are always, me included, when I go into the office and there are snacks on the table and I work for 2 hours, then I get up, go grab some water, and there are just snacks staring at me. And I stare back.
Exactly. So I think it's very important that during the daytime, if you're feeling hunger or if you feel like putting something in your mouth, it's much better to reach out for warm water. Not cold water, but warm water, simply because it's your body telling you that it's dehydrated. But because the amount of refined foods that we have, the amount of unnatural foods that we are eating in every single day, and these foods are pumping us with sugar, so every time we are hungry, we are actually not hungry. We are actually dehydrated. And our mind misunderstands it and thinks, oh, I need some food, I need some sugar, I need some coffee, I need some... Instead of eating something, if you start drinking warm water during the daytime, when you actually feel hungry, you'll find that your health will really go positively upwards instead of going downwards. You will be more active and you will have better focus in whatever you're doing.
Okay.
And I'm saying, don't take my word for it, challenge me for it, do it for 10 days and see it for yourself whether it makes a difference to your life or not. Simple.
Okay. I will personally am vouching to do it for next 10 days and I will report on the results. If you're watching this and you also have this thought in your head whether this is real, give it a shot and message me. We can exchange experiences. All right. So the body is a very interesting topic, and we for sure don't take care of ourselves and our body as we're supposed to. I really resonated with what you said, that we're not our grandparents' generation in terms of, yes, we're not working on farms. And this kind of talk, you eat breakfast, you eat lunch, you eat dinner, is when someone really works stuff like a physical job.
Like a peasant, yes. If you're a physical laborer, for sure, go in for that lunch. But if you're not a physical laborer, if you're a mind worker, for you, it would be the healthiest if you were to have big breakfast and a big dinner. There are absolutely no restrictions for now. I'm not saying you should go vegetarian. I'm not saying you should not eat meat, you should not eat dairy. I'm saying just make sure that you're having 2 meals a day and at the right time. So it should not happen that your breakfast happens at 12 o'clock in the afternoon and your dinner happens at 10 o'clock. All I'm saying is your breakfast should finish by 9:30 a.m. in the morning. Your dinner should finish by 6:30, maximum 7. 7 is the borderline. Actually, if you finish by 6:30, you will have great digestion. You will be able to sleep better. You will have better focus and attention to all the things that you're doing. Your digestion will become so much better. Your body is going to thank you. And there is a lot of research that is happening today which says that if you do intermittent fasting, and this intermittent fasting is a Western concept that was originally derived by studying Ayurveda, by studying Indians, by studying what happens when the body undergoes fasting. And they found that when the body undergoes fasting, when you do not feed the body and it is hungry, then it ends up eating up its own toxins. It ends up consuming the food that is still sitting undigested in your stomach. And this is what kind of brings more energy into the body, and it also keeps us younger.
By the way, I have to say that Vidhi, although he looks 25 to 30, he is not. You can see from the white lines of his beard. I'm not going to tell the people how old are you, it's not gentlemanly, but he is an example of how you can take care of your body and still look young. Yes, for sure. And I go around every day on the streets. You know, it makes me very, very sad inside to see like people at the age of 45, at the age of 50, struggling to walk. Like they struggle to walk, they struggle to keep balance. And I think this is for sure a combination between bad mental health, unaware of their own body, bad food, and alcohol.
Also hydration levels, yeah.
Yes. Can you talk a little bit more about the alcohol aspect of things? I'm not sure if you know this, but Bulgaria, besides from being the poorest country in the EU, it also has one of the highest levels of alcoholism in the world, and tobacco as well. So in this sense, we're a very downwards toxic spiral kind of nation, but I do see signs of bouncing back from the bottom. So let's talk about alcohol. What does alcohol do to your body? How does it affect it? And even if a person likes to drink, what do they need to do so they can grab a sip of 50 milliliters per day and still be healthy?
Let's try to understand the origin of alcohol. Mostly alcohol was popular in countries where there was a lot of physical work involved, especially during the times of war, where most of the masses were employed as laborers by the ruling governments, and alcohol was one of the few things to kind of relax at the end of the day. For the peasants, for the farmers, for people who did a lot of physical labor during the wars, it was one way to keep this class of people happy, because they didn't have anything else to be happy about. So alcohol was their pleasure at the end of the day. So whether you study Denmark, where we have beers from, whether you study any other European country, alcohol was a way of kind of distracting the population from their daily sorrows and their daily sufferings, So it's pretty obvious that the kind of pain that this region might have seen, it's quite similar in Romania, it's quite similar in eastern parts of Europe, where you see that alcohol is a very big aspect of entertainment for most men and women. Okay.
Yes.
So you have to understand that we are not living in that war era anymore, though, yeah, war could happen. We could always become like peasants again, but we are not living in the times of our parents or grandparents. That's number one. You have to understand the origin of alcohol before you start addressing it for yourself. Number two, what does alcohol really do? Alcohol is directly processed by your liver, so it damages your liver. Alcohol is a very strong dehydrating agent. In very small quantities, it can activate your digestive system. In very small quantities, it has the ability to relax your mind. In very small quantities. When I say very small quantities, I say just a peg, which is about 30 ml. That too, I would not say you should take it daily. Once in a while, maybe. There have been reports that have shown that if alcohol is consumed after the age of 40 years, the kind of negative effects that it has on the brain are super high. So imagine we are a generation which is not drinking water at all. We are replacing water with coffee, we are replacing water with beer, with alcohol, with maybe a juice, maybe with something else. And I've already said about this thing before, that all liquids are not water. You may be drinking a liquid that might take out water from your body instead of hydrating you again. So alcohol makes it all the more worse because one, it is processed by the liver. Two, having alcohol too much or every single day will also affect your brain, especially if you're above the age of 40. Like, it is so detrimental, they say that even a shot of alcohol after the age of 40 is going to hurt your brain. Number three, because it's dehydrating you continuously, the kind of imbalances that it creates in the body can range all the way from mental anxiety, depression, to spinal issues, to health issues of the bone and the physical body types. And the moment you take out alcohol from your diet, you'll find that most of these issues will not disappear overnight, but they will become definitely less. And on top of that, alcohol is also directly responsible one way or the other because of the causation of alcohol becoming sugar in your blood to have high blood pressures and all the diseases that we are commonly quite aware of that alcohol brings. Also, it's, I think, a pure waste of money. If you're having tobacco, if you're having alcohol, if you were to just not have it for a month and pretend that you're having alcohol every day, pretend that you're having tobacco every day, and just keep that money aside, maybe in a bank or maybe have a piggy bank, for yourself. And you just put the amount of alcohol that you're going to have that specific day and do not do alcohol. Not only will you feel better, but you'll also end up saving a lot of money for yourself.
I think one of the biggest arguments against not buying alcohol is that alcohol is one of the only pleasures left in life for me. We heard the saying that people are above the age of 40, 45, they live difficult lives, and they have gotten used to drown their sorrows and struggles in alcohol. So there's a mental barrier there. Like, what would be the pleasure to replace alcohol?
That's a very good question. I mean, you have to decide for yourself, do you still want to live in a peasant mindset, when we talk about getting wealthy, for example, we say you need to drop your poor mindset, Anybody who's poor, they're not poor because they do not have money. They're simply poor because their mindset is very poor. The same way, when we say if you want to be healthy, then it's important to have a healthy mindset. So for anybody who thinks that they are drowning their sorrows in alcohol, that is true. As I said earlier, the origin of alcohol becoming popular in the masses was when the governments were kind of encouraging people to drink alcohol because people were used as laborers or peasants to do work during the wartime. And then that was the only kind of entertainment that they could have at the end of the day, having alcohol. So if you're somebody who's wanting to get spiritual, wanting to get healthy, and you still believe that alcohol can drown your fears, it can drown your sorrows, then you really need to leave this poor mindset back, this peasant, this laborer mindset back, because there are so many ways. And thanks to yoga, thanks to meditation, thanks to so many things that are coming back into the world, that's not the only way to be happy. We have talked about it in a previous show. We have talked about it in the retreats that I have done, that happiness is an inside job. The moment you are able to bring your awareness from everything outside back inside and just observe your breath, 15 minutes of that exercise can make you feel so much less stressed than alcohol. 15 minutes of just closing your eyes and observing the breath without participating in any thought, without participating in any feeling that comes up, can make you so much more happy than just alcohol. Are you trying to suppress that which is going in your mind, or are you releasing that which is going in your mind? That's the question. That's the big question towards the answer for happiness. If you're trying to suppress it all the time, using alcohol, using drugs, using distractions like movie or going to a pub or a bar, then you're not facing your problem. Then you're not giving a chance to your body and the mind to release that problem. But if you're meditating on yourself, even for 15 minutes, then you're giving the time to your body and your mind to release that which is going inside the body, inside the mind. And that can only happen that during this process of meditation, you choose not to react to whatever that comes up. Does that make sense?
It does. And it's a very difficult path.
Yes. Every good thing, if you look at an athlete, if you look at somebody who has a great body, if you look at a beautiful woman, if you actually follow their routine, the amount of care they take for their body, if you see a guy who's got very nice pumped up muscles, if you see the kind of routine that they follow, I'm sorry, that's not easy. These guys just don't wake up in the morning at 10 o'clock and they have breakfast whenever they want and they're eating and drinking coffee or having alcohol all the time. If you actually were to follow the most good-looking people across the planet, you'll find all of them live by a discipline that is not easy to follow.
Yes.
The question is the choice. What is the choice you're making for yourself? Are you going to be drowning your sorrows in something that brings your energy down, or are you going to be doing something that will actually not only make your life better, but also take your energy up and inspire the people around you?
Yes, yes, definitely. And this also circles around back to taking care. So this also takes us back to our responsibility of taking care of each other, and the awareness that death is not only for people we hear on the news, but for ourselves as well, and that we have to appreciate life for what it is, for how beautiful it is. And that means that sometimes we need to stop, we need to pause, we need to take a look at the small things and appreciate what we already have and start valuing what we already have. Otherwise, that would lead us into these toxic behaviors that drown our sorrows instead of bringing up our happiness and love and desire to help and be better, help ourselves and help others as well.
I think one of the biggest challenges that I see in people changing, especially when it comes to life and diet, and especially changing the diet, is a lot of people say, but I'm not used to eating food in the morning, I don't feel hungry. This is one of the biggest challenges across the globe. But I don't eat food in the morning because I don't feel hungry. I feel better eating during the afternoon times, or I feel better having a snack in the night. You have to understand that if you have to be healthy, then you need to have some sort of a discipline. Even if you do not feel hungry and you still manage to have some sort of a breakfast that is heavy by your standards at the right time, and then give yourself that space to be hungry during the day, not eating during the day, but hungry during the day, and having an early meal between 5 to 6:30, you will see that one day you'll not like it, 2 days you'll not like it, but after 10 days, I promise you, on the 11th day, when you go back to your lifestyle, you'll not enjoy your lifestyle because your energy will actually deplete when you go back to your past habits. So at the end of the day, it's all about choice. Do I want to be growing? Do I want to actually transmit great energy? Do I want to be healthy? Do I want to inspire others? Or do I want to be my sick self? Do I want to drown my sorrows in coffee, or maybe in cigarettes, or maybe into alcohol, and be that person who's continuously complaining? So if you're able to shift your focus on whether I can take charge of my life or whether I want to complain about others for my life, then I think that's where the shift happens. Most of the people who come to me in mental therapy, most of the people who come to work with me are super inspiring for me because they have gone through the world, they've seen everything, and they're saying, show me the path. Mm-hmm. Tell me what needs to be done, and no matter how tough it is, I'm going to do it. And also there is this advantage of me following up very closely with them on a daily basis when we're doing mental therapy. But I'm super inspired as to how charged they are about changing themselves. They've already been to therapists, they've seen people across the globe, and yet when they come to me, they're like, tell me what I need to do and I'll do it no matter what. And because they have this zeal, this enthusiasm for changing themselves, the kind of change that occurs in days, in weeks, in months within them is one of the primary reasons why I have to work with people only for 6 to 7 months. I don't have to work with them for years, because one of the biggest decisive factors for anybody watching this is, do you want to change? Do you want to become better? Do you want to be inspired by others, or do you want to be an inspiration to others? And if that is your driving factor, I want to be inspiring others, I want to be the best of what I can be, and I want to do it today, then I think nobody can stop you from changing your habits.
Yes. Being an inspiration to others is hard. It's a lifelong journey.
Yes, of course.
Sure. Sometimes we inspire kids, sometimes teenagers, some more so adults. And this is why I think we always look up to people that are presented to us as great role models and great figures. And I've thought about this recently, and if you ask me what role model do I have, I do not have one. Like I cannot say, yes, there is my mother, there is my dad, there is you, there are other people in my life that I really look up to. But in terms of role model, I don't imagine myself following in the steps of someone else. Yes, they can inspire me, but I want to be that inspiration for myself, and in exchange, allow other people to find that inspiration in themselves.
Yes, of course.
So, Vidhi, thank you so much for joining, and to you, thank you so much for staying. If you are enchanted by this conversation as much as I am, I will also leave Vidhi's website in the description below, and you can contact him for a session on WhatsApp, over email, or just simply find me in my Telegram group and message me, and I will give you the contact if that's easier for you. He travels, so everything can be done online, and maybe, who knows, maybe he have many reasons to come back to Bulgaria, and he can do in-person live sessions. So, Vidhi, thank you so much for your time. It's always
Peter.
a great pleasure. Have a wonderful flight away from Bulgaria, and I do hope to see you very, very soon. Any last words, maybe, to the audience?
Well, take care of your health. The choice to be healthy is today and right now. Don't wait for someone to come and inspire you, but be that person that inspires yourself. If you can take the chance and determination today, if you can act on it today, then all of these things matter. If you're still waiting that somebody's going to make your life better, somebody's going to come and inspire you, somebody's going to tell you something to do, then I will just say, don't wait your entire life waiting for someone to come and inspire you. Be that inspiration today. And I kid you not, I mean, even if you were to start working on yourself and give yourself a very short-term target, say, okay, I will do everything that Vidhi said for 10 days. On the 11th day, you'll be a little happier with you,
Yeah.
And that little happiness, that little happiness is the key to me being inspired by myself. So when I'm not able to execute long-term targets, I just take short-term targets, I execute them with complete sincerity, and the moment the target is finished, I look back and say, wow, I could have never done that. I'm so inspiring, So if you have to derive inspiration from yourself, set short-term targets, see how it affects you, and believe me, taking action is much better than just sitting back and thinking. So take that action today.
Yes.
May all beings be happy.
May all beings
be free of their suffering.
And be free of their suffering.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.